Are you still being trained by Ben Davison, Lee Wiley? Will Ben be in your corner on the 19th of December?
So no, I won't be trained by Ben Davison. I said that London's a bit distracting for me. So I was invited to train with Team Usyk. So I've been in Spain. We've been doing some good training out in Spain. And I think he's one of the best in the world. Not I think, he is one of the best in the world. And it's not all down to him, it's also down to his team that's around him. So I linked up with them, and getting an insight to how someone who's achieved so much, it's been phenomenal, man. It's been a great experience, and it's very challenging.
Wow.
You won't believe what we just walked in on. Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk, yes, those two, teaming up like a Marvel crossover to get ready for Jake Paul. Joshua's punching like he's late for rent. Usyk is training like he's about to fight gravity itself, and somehow a rubber chicken got involved. If this is their secret plan, Jake might need more than sunglasses indoors. Let's roll the footage before they see us.
So Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Usyk is currently in negotiations. This fight should be confirmed in the up-and-coming weeks. And this is a massive fight. And of course,
Anthony Joshua has officially broken the internet. Not because he knocked anyone out, not because he flipped any tables in a press conference, but because someone caught him in the gym doing the unthinkable, training with Alexander Usyk's camp to fight Jake Paul. Yes.
So I was in Texas here training, and this guy is like a gymnast, and he helps a lot of like NFL players, and this stretch is mad. It feels good though. It feels good, pause. But it's a really good stretch. Flexibility is important for recovery. And it's something unusual, but it works.
Former unified heavyweight champion, master of spreadsheets and supercars, in the gym with the same people who spent years trying to beat him, now helping him prepare for a YouTuber with a podcast and a prime shelf.
Went out there, spent time with the three-time undisputed champ. They're killing me, drilling me, but this is where I need to be. And that's how serious I'm taking Jake. Respect to him. I'm not only fighting Jake, I'm fighting his mind, the psychological aspect of Jake that I need to break. A man who believes in himself, they say he's delusional. I've got to break that delusion and bring him down to a reality check. Make him have a reality check in the ring.
Somewhere, a traditional boxing purist just dropped their cup of tea in slow motion. In the footage, Joshua isn't shadowboxing lazily or doing friendly pad work. No, he's moving like a man who's been handed a surprise final exam, and the first question is, how do you dodge memes? Usyk's team are around him with that terrifying calm energy, the kind of calm that says, we studied you for 2 full training camps, now we're going to install the Ukrainian update and send you out to erase an influencer.
Jake is fine, AJ.
Oh my God, yeah,
there we go, straight in.
I'm going to give him props.
Fair. Okay,
Fair play, Jake.
It's a big fight.
What about AJ?
It's a big
no
fight.
props for AJ.
I mean, AJ should knock him out.
It legitimizes Jake even more.
It does,
And
because...
also...
Well, do you think it's a lose-lose for AJ?
No. Because I reckon
Besides, I mean, look, money-wise, it's a
Win.
dub.
Yeah.
But, like...
if he flatlines Jake, dub.
Everyone's
That's
saying,
it.
like, okay,
Yeah.
we expected this. If
It's still good,
If
though.
it
A lot
goes
of-
12 rounds,
It's bad.
AJ
That's bad.
is...
Yeah, that's bad.
Is that it
Money
then?
sucks.
After, let's say,
That's
Jake
it.
Paul gets fights AJ, gets brutally knocked.
They've got him drilling that awkward, slippery Usyk-style footwork. You know, the one where your brain thinks you're walking normally, but the replay makes you look like you're moonwalking on ice. Joshua is there, big heavyweight frame, bouncing around like a cruiserweight who accidentally clicked the wrong weight class on fight night. Pivot, step, roll, angle off again and again. You can almost hear one of Usyk's coaches thinking, if we can make this giant move like Alexander for even 30 seconds, Jake Paul's soul might try to leave his body. Then it gets even more serious. They're working the jab in that annoy you before I destroy you style. Not just those classic Joshua power jabs. This time it's spiteful, sneaky, touch, touch, boom. Jab upstairs, jab to the chest, jab to the shoulder, jab like the punch has a personal grudge against your nervous system. Usyk's camp clearly didn't fly in to take cute pictures. They're rewiring a heavyweight to box like a chess-playing assassin who just discovered caffeine. Somewhere between rounds, you can picture the physio in the corner staring at the session like, this was not in my contract. Because if you thought the old-school Mike Tyson neck bridges looked frightening, welcome to the Usyk elasticity program. Joshua is doing those insane stability drills where his neck, shoulders, and core are all screaming at the same time, while an Eastern European strength coach calmly says something that definitely translates to, this builds character.
I'm hearing this is true that AJ has gone out to train with Alexander Usyk's team. So I don't know if that means Alexander Usyk per se, but Alexander Usyk's team. I have no issues with that at all. Some people might sort of throw out the phrase, if you can't beat them, join them. AJ's always kind of done that. A lot of fighters do this as well, by the way, but when it's AJ, it's big noise. A lot of fighters go to camps and spend a couple of weeks in a camp. Like, most fighters do it, in fact. They'll go to a camp, spend a couple of weeks, Obviously, it looks a bit different because it's AJ Usyk, but most fighters do that. I mean, there's no problem.
Physios around the world are watching that clip, pausing it, zooming in, and asking the same question: why would anyone do that on purpose? Meanwhile, Joshua is rolling his neck on some terrifying contraption like, if one more 19-year-old calls me finished on Twitter, I want to be able to walk through their best punch and not even blink. But the wild part isn't just the training, it's what the training says. Because you don't go into Usyk's camp just for vibes. You don't adopt the Usyk footwork, the constant angle changes, the insane conditioning circuits, just to lightly spar a YouTuber. That kind of work is code. It's Joshua's way of accidentally announcing to the world, surprise, I'm taking this circus extremely seriously. And that's where the internet explodes. On one side, you've got the real boxing-only crew panicking. They're convinced this is the final boss of disrespect. A former unified heavyweight champion sharpening his sword with Usyk's team to prepare for a man whose career started with prank videos and a ring walk song. These are the fans muttering that Joshua should be chasing belts, legacy, dangerous monsters in the top 5, not camera angles and thumbnails. They see him slipping punches in Usyk rhythm and think, so he's spending elite camp time to fight the guy who used to call out KSI in all caps? According to them, this isn't just a fight. It's the sport of boxing being dragged out behind the gym and forced to do TikToks.
Do you think he can win, Jake Paul?
I think it's a possibility. No one is backing Jake Paul currently. You've seen him in the ring. You can see that he's got some knockout power. And I also believe people don't look at Joshua's last few fights. And I don't think it's going to be as big of a landslide as people feel. I feel like there's an overhand right that could easily land, and I wouldn't predict that Joshua's chin can last that. The problem is that all of the pressure's on Joshua at the moment. So Jake Paul, if he gets knocked out in 12 seconds, he should get knocked out. The problem is, as soon as Joshua starts taking damage, all of a sudden he's thinking, the world is watching me, I'm a professional fighter, and I'm getting beat off a YouTuber. All of the pressure is in Joshua.
On the other side, the accountants, the promoters, and the people who understand math looking at this and going, hang on, you mean he can train like it's a world title fight, but get paid like it's a superhero crossover movie? Because as much as everyone wants to pretend this is about honor and tradition, somebody definitely opened a spreadsheet and went, Fury fight, dangerous, political, complicated, takes 3 years to make. Jake Paul fight, still dangerous, but much easier to sign, and the numbers have more zeros than a broken calculator. So now you've got this ridiculous split-screen situation. On the left, Usyk's camp, elite technicians, studying angles, timing, southpaw looks, turning a giant man into a mobile artillery platform. On the right, Jake Paul on Instagram, doing explosive pad work and posting motivational captions, while someone in the background tries not to laugh at the idea of him sharing a ring with Anthony Joshua. And yet, somehow, it's happening. Or at least, it's getting close enough that grown adults are arguing about it like exam results. Analysts start doing their thing. They look at Jake Paul's history, the retired legends, the MMA veterans, the respectable but undersized opposition. Then they look at a 6'6" heavyweight who sends people to the shadow realm with straight punches. Suddenly, everyone is using words like escalation and career risk. And this might be the moment the script stops being cute and becomes an emergency.
I want to change subjects just a little bit here. And Anthony Joshua, there's rumours circulating he could be fighting Jake Paul next. One, do you think it's good for boxing? And two, do you think the fight will happen?
I think it's great for boxing. I think the fight will happen. AJ is 1-0 against these guys that come in to these boxing careers late. So why not? He's a perfect guy to take him out too. He took Ngannou out. Why would he not take Jake Paul out? And for him, he'd probably make more money fighting Jake Paul than he will fight anybody else that he can fight right now. So why would he not do it? I mean, not that he needs the money right now anyway, but if he's going to do something, if he want to get a good win.
Because here's the secret nobody wants to admit out loud. Jake Paul has actually improved. Not elite heavyweight improved. Not beat Usyk improved. But definitely hits harder than your average gym troll improved. He trains properly, he does real camps, he studies tape. He's not just turning up in flashy shorts and hoping for the best. And that's exactly why Joshua walking into Usyk's camp matters so much. If Joshua thought Jake was just influencer-level danger, he'd do a couple of weeks with his normal team, post some training clips, smile for the cameras, and turn up on fight night ready to clock in and clock out. Instead, he's grinding in a system built to neutralize intelligent, awkward movers. He's borrowing Usyk's playbook, not for a tactical chess rematch, but to deal with a YouTuber who dared to climb into the grown-ups division. That's the insult. That's the comedy. And that's the clue. This isn't light work. This is, you have annoyed the wrong heavyweight. Meanwhile, the old-school fighters are done pretending to be polite. You can practically hear their interviews without even turning the volume up. They're shaking their heads, saying Joshua should be fighting top contenders, not social media stars. That real boxers spend their whole lives grinding in empty halls and underpaid undercards. And now, a YouTuber is walking straight into a mega payday with a man who has world titles, Olympic gold, and his own statue of critics who said he was finished 3 times already.
The damage that's going to be inflicted to him. Boxing's a dangerous, dangerous game. Your brain isn't supposed to rattle around in your head, particularly the way it's going to for Jake Paul when Anthony Joshua starts letting those punches fly. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be, I hope they've got some real good paramedics close by, because it could be that bad.
From their angle, it's simple. There are fighters with 20 years in the sport who will never earn a fraction of what Jake Paul is going to make for this one stunt. And watching Joshua step into a camp this serious for a crossover fight feels to them like watching your school principal do a dance challenge for views. Technically allowed, but spiritually confusing. Then you've got the business minds rolling their eyes at all that. They're looking straight at the numbers. Legacy is great. Honor is lovely. But if someone knocks on your door and offers you a once-in-a-lifetime generational payday for a fight where, on paper, you're the walking, talking cheat code, are you really supposed to say no because a few purists on forums will be upset? Joshua just watched the Usyk trilogy talk evaporate. He's watched the Fury saga turn into a never-ending soap opera. The titles move, the storylines shift, the big fights keep slipping away. Along comes Jake Paul with a contract, a megaphone, a massive audience, and a willingness to get hit in the face by very large men. Suddenly, the YouTuber isn't just a clown, he's the quickest route to life-changing money and a new set of headlines. So what do? You text Usyk's people. Because if this thing is going to happen, there's no way Joshua is turning up half-baked.
What you're actually looking at here is a humiliation ritual, and the outcome of this fight has already been decided. Either they're going to give Joshua enough money to let Jake Paul beat him, or it's the end of Jake Paul. Maybe JP has served his purpose right now and it's time to delete him from the server and upload a new character. I mean, if he couldn't do anything against Tommy Fury, I don't understand what he thinks he's going to do against Anthony Joshua in a real fight. But is it a real fight? We know that the world's a stage, and we know how much money is involved in fights like this. Let me know.
Not after watching what happens when people take Jake lightly. Not after seeing MMA legends get surprised, dropped, or outworked. Not after hearing the never-ending narrative that boxing is dying, while Jake Paul quietly prints pay-per-view buys. So now, we're here. In some gym somewhere, Joshua's being shown all the tricks that used to torment him. How to step off to the side and make a big puncher swing at air. How to keep constant pressure without walking into counters. How to break rhythm, how to not load up, how to be horrible in small ways over many rounds. Usyk's camp is drilling that into him. Not to outpoint a magician over 12, but to corner an ambitious YouTuber and give him the kind of reality check you can still feel years later. That leaked training does something else too. It sends a message to Jake. It says, this is not an exhibition. This is not a light spar. This is not an easy night. Whatever Jake Paul thought he was signing for, he's now watching clips of Joshua moving like a guy who has decided this fight is personal in the most professional way. No trash talk needed. No long speeches. Just hours and hours of work with the same people who gave him 2 of his hardest nights in boxing. And that's the funniest part. All these years, Jake Paul has been yelling for respect, calling out names, stirring controversy, signing fights, collecting scalps, building his own strange little legacy as the YouTuber who refused to stay in his lane.
Guess who Anthony Joshua is training with? This guy's team. Anthony Joshua is currently training with Alexander Usyk's team. What parallel universe are we living in? What is going on? Is the returning Anthony Joshua about to join Team Usyk? Anthony Joshua could be about to join Team Usyk after visiting the Ukrainian champion's Valencia facility recently. Joshua is attempting to secure the optimal training setup for the closing stages of his career, and Spain was high on his list. The British, this is talking about him losing to Daniel Dubois. The next bit is about him not being in the Ring Magazine's heavyweight rankings, which is crazy. And now the Ring has learned that he could be about to up the sticks for the east coast of Spain to do.
Now he's finally getting the respect he asked for. The respect looks like this. Anthony Joshua in Usyk's camp, sweating his way through world-level drills, planning to make sure there are no surprises, no lucky moments, no angle where Jake Paul can sneak in and turn this into a meme. This is what happens when the crossover kid accidentally unlocks nightmare mode. Will the fight actually happen? The skeptics are still out there, arms folded, waiting. They've seen big fights teased, hyped, and then vanish in a haze of contracts and egos. Until both men are walking to the ring, some people won't believe it. And honestly, fair enough. Boxing has promised the world plenty of times and delivered a group chat argument instead. But one thing is already real. Joshua has been exposed. Not in a bad way, not in a caught-out way. Exposed in the sense that he can't hide how seriously he's taking this. You don't accidentally wandering into the camp of the man who beat you and ask to borrow his homework for a joke fight. You do that because you see a threat worth preparing for and an opportunity too big to treat casually. So now the stage is half built. On one side, a heavyweight who's rebuilt, retooled, and now rewired with hints of Usyk in his system. Faster feet, sharper angles, more patience, more cold calculation.
Anthony Joshua.
It's a weird one, mate. There's no way in any world that Jake Paul should even stand a chance against AJ. Shouldn't happen. So we'll see. Shouldn't happen.
So you're predicting an AJ Ramon knockout?
That should happen in the real world, but in Jake Paul's world, probably go the distance.
On the other hand, a YouTuber turned boxer who's finally billed against someone who can end the whole story in one clean right hand, but is still walking forward, still talking, still believing this is his era. Some fans will call it a circus. Some will call it a robbery of the sport. Others will call it genius, but everybody will watch. Because let's be honest, if you hear the sentence, Anthony Joshua has been secretly training with Usyk's camp to prepare for Jake Paul, there is no universe where you don't want to see how that story ends. And when the bell finally rings, remember this. Somewhere buried inside every Joshua combination, every feint, every little step to the outside will be the fingerprints of the same team that once tried to break him. Now helping him make sure this influencer chapter ends with a very, very loud full stop.